let's switch gears.
All right.
Talking about the warrior, I bet that warrior came out in terms of after you had Charm.
Yes.
Charm Vida.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Because that's what we call her. We
call her
yes,
a life charm. After you had your little girl, then I guess you were looking for a rebirth for yourself. You said, hey, it's time to start over.
Well, Charm Vida is the biggest blessing of my entire life. She is the greatest gift granted to me, and I sing it to her all the time. I'm like, you are the greatest gift that God has granted me. Sometimes I put her to sleep like that. And when I was pregnant, which, although I live in denial, I was what you consider a late pregnancy.
Wait, I don't get you.
Well, I was a little late in the game to be.
Oh, okay.
I was a high-risk pregnancy.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, again, I'll deny it until I'm blue in the face, even though you're recording it. However,
I just thought you were 17.
And I got to tell you, I have her trained, bringing up Charm Vida. Charm Vida just drew me a cake the other day that said 26 because and she asked me how old I was. Last year, I told her, I'm 25 because I knew she would go around telling everybody.
Gosh,
right?
So now she says, Mommy's 26.
Yeah, she remembered from last year, so she drew me a cake with the number 26.
I love it.
Yeah, I just had a birthday in December.
Yeah.
December. I'm sorry, I had to take that in. I was laughing.
Oh, that's so cute.
So, during my pregnancy, I had some complications, and one of the complications was they really didn't want me on my feet too much. I work a lot. I am a workaholic. I am always working. I'm a worker. I never stopped working up until I was forced to have to stop, to take care of my baby, to give birth, to actually give birth and cater to her for the first couple of months. And then after that, I just whipped her up and said, come on, you got to come with Mommy. At 3 months, she was already in the studio with me.
Oh my God.
But going back to the actual pregnancy, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Mm-hmm. And diabetes is a really it's a disease that actually is pretty big within the people of color community, and I actually have family members who transitioned not necessarily from diabetes, but diabetes is one of the contributors to their short lifespan.
Yes.
And so here I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and I was forced to alter my diet, and I was threatened because I was told if I didn't alter my eating habits, I was going to be forced to be injected with insulin, and I did not want my daughter being brought into this world with insulin in her blood. Yeah, with my additional insulin in her blood. Exactly. So I altered my eating habits, and at that point, I'll be honest, I had already become a semi-vegetarian because my very dear loving friend Mariposa, she's a very well-known poet. She's a legendary poet. She's my comadre. She had already started introducing me to another style, another way of living. She's more a vegetarian. She's semi-vegetarian as well. However, she introduced me to a colonic hygienist. And once I started visiting this colonic hygienist, I was taught the root of diseases comes from the parasites that grow in your intestines. And I was shown visuals of what meat does when it rots in your intestines, because meat stays in your system longer, and as you age it takes longer to digest, and some of it, food stays behind in your intestines, which is why it's good to get colonics, because it hardens up, and then you have all these walls of layers, which is what actually prevents you from going to the bathroom regularly. And then parasites grow in there, and then those parasites help themselves to the nutrients that your body's supposed to be getting, and hence that's where diseases are born.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert, and I'm giving it to you in a nutshell, but
Right.
that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm giving up meat. No, thank you.
Wow.
And so I decided from that day forward, I was no longer eating red meat. I no longer eat pork chops. I don't eat pernil, which, in Puerto Rican is said, what Puerto Rican doesn't eat
Right.
pernil?
Wow.
And I also don't eat steak. And I used to be a fierce filet mignon type of
Right.
woman. Like, take me to Smith and Walensky's for dinner.
Oh.
And
I,
yeah,
I remember I was watching one of the episodes of Rhina Gets Lean, and I think that was the first time that your nutritionist said, no more chicken.
yeah, yeah,
You said,
yeah.
no more chicken. What?
I know. That
So was
was
that the
really.
last meat to go?
No, I couldn't give up chicken because that is my means of protein. Poultry, and I do eat fish. I just don't eat as much chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Although chicken is my primary source of protein.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. The reason they were asking me to give up the chicken is because I believe that the episode you're referring to was I went to a holistic nutritionist that was really hung up on blood types, which was very
Yes.
fascinating because
That's right.
apparently the way it works is like your blood type is not supposed to eat certain foods. And like not everybody's meant to be a vegetarian according to
That's
that
right. I've heard that.
nutritionist. They said your certain blood types require meat, and to be honest with you, my blood type was supposed to have meat, and so I don't eat meat. And then she's telling me not to eat chicken. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. So I did try to give up chicken for a little while, but again, coming from being a meat eater, it was too challenging for me. So I'm raised with the Puerto Rican mentality of
I
like,
know.
rice, beans, salad, and meat. If those four items are not on the plate, it's not attractive.
It's not a meal. That's
Right.
right.
And now we don't eat like that. Now, even though I'm saying poultry is my primary source of protein, I've raised my daughter to eat like beans in a different form. I was raised beans go with rice. Now we make bean salads, or we'll do chickpea salad, and I'll put every vegetable under the sun in there, like green peppers, red peppers, onions, carrots, celery, and that's a meal. It's a meal, believe it or not.
Yes.
It has all the nutrients that you need that you would get in a full plate of food. And so we do eat like that. And I do acknowledge Mariposa for leading me into that path, because during my pregnancy, she would make me this amazing collard green salad, raw collard greens.
Ooh.
And I was so hung up on it. It's what I craved for throughout the majority of my pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
I know, collard greens, right? And so I had to, and it was good because I was put in a position not to be able to crave whatever it is that I wanted. It was really sad. I mean, I'm ready to cry right now because I remember the day being told, it's like, you cannot eat ice cream whenever you want. You can't eat whatever it is that you want whenever you want. I know everybody thinks that they can do that when they're pregnant,
Right,
but
right.
because of my condition, I was basically banned from eating that way. I could not. And then
Because
as I got later in the pregnancy, I was being I was almost put on bed rest.
wow. Wow. Yeah.
It was a complicated pregnancy.
Yes. Yeah.
I
can
went through
see
a
that.
lot. I mean, and I fought up until the last minute to not be injected with insulin. And I did. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it. And I'm very proud of that. And my daughter was born without the disease, and I no longer
Wow.
have it either. So I was able to get rid of it.
Wow.
However, it still has an impact on my weight issue right now that I'm dealing with. And we can get to that when you're ready.
Yes.
The nutritionist I happen to be working with now is really, really educating me. like teaching me about science on a whole nother level, like all this exploration I've done and all this research I've done, and I don't think anybody's ever addressed the
Wow.
issues that he's presenting to me right now.
Wow. It sounds to me like the warrior part of you has had to come out several times.
Yes, 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 and she's fierce. She's fierce,
Yeah.
and quite frankly speaking, I really should allow her to come out as often as she likes, because she gets things done.
Yeah.
She
And
gets
she's
things,
protective as hell.
yeah,
She,
yeah.
yeah.
She and the truth is like right now, I think I gave myself permission coming in 2016 to let her kind of steer captain.
Yes.
Yeah, because we all have a lot of different people. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say that. Well, I'm a character actor, so I have a lot of characters that I've allowed come through me, and
Absolutely. We all have different parts. And
right,
you're
and
lucky
so
in that you get to actually manifest it on stage.
yeah, and bring them out. And
Oh,
but it took me a while to kind of align everybody and real recognize who could be in charge, who belongs at the forefront.
yep.
Who's the captain? I'm the captain, not you, not you, not you. Anyway, that's another conversation, because I don't want to take it somewhere else and people are like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
she still needs therapy. I'm like, well, as far as I'm concerned, we all need therapy.
So what made you I thought it was so gutsy by you taking on Rena Gets Lean, because after pregnancy, that's one of the most vulnerable times of a woman's life, because not only has, you know, giving birth taken so much out of you, but you're grieving in a way. You're grieving the loss of the old self, the old, fancy free part of you, your body. I mean, how did you do that? How did you do that on film?
It's so
Here's
you
an Oscar for you. Oh my God.
from your mouth to God's ears and to the Oscars.
Oh,
Everybody's listening.
seriously.
I hope they pay attention when we put this online.
Yes.
Oh yeah.